true wealth is not having more, but needing less. Have you ever asked yourself what it truly means to be free? In a world where everyone seems to be running after money, validation, status, there is one figure who walks calmly, without hurry, without pressure, as if he already knows something that many haven't even dared to ask. Today, we're going to talk about that man and what he can teach us. In the middle of a bustling city where everyone is rushing, competing, showing off, a man walks slowly. He carries no phone in his hand, no Bluetooth in his ears. His face is serene. He's dressed simply. He doesn't look rich, nor poor. He simply looks free. While the crowd around him is consumed with checking stocks, running to meetings, flaunting expensive clothes and chasing likes, he walks as if he is not part of that race. And, in truth, he isn't. He's not chasing anything. He's not selling himself. He's not trying to get ahead of others. And that is exactly what makes him dangerous. He is not connected to the system that binds everyone else. He doesn't measure his worth by money, followers, or job titles. He doesn't care if you think he's successful. He isn't interested in climbing a ladder that leads nowhere. He lives at his own pace, by his own values. And in a world designed to keep you dependent, that is an act of rebellion. In a society where everyone desperately chases money like it's oxygen, the man who doesn't run becomes a threat, not because he harms anyone, but because his very existence asks a question that deeply frightens people. What if freedom isn't found in what you can buy, but in what you no longer need? What if success isn't accumulation, but release? What if the whole game is rigged, and he simply stepped off the board? The system doesn't know how to deal with that, because the one who doesn't chase money isn't playing. He has simply outgrown the game. And nothing terrifies the system more than someone who no longer wants what it's selling. Let me tell you something few dare to admit. This society isn't built solely on money. It's built on your need for money, on your fear of not having it, on your fear of being poor, left behind, judged. Every major industry you interact with, from education to technology, doesn't just sell products. It sells a story. That your life only has value if it's profitable. That if you're not constantly running, you're lazy. That if you don't want more, you lack ambition. That exhaustion is a badge of honor. And rest, a weakness. From a young age, we're taught that success equals making money. That your time only matters if someone is paying for it. That playing is childish, unless it's monetized. That curiosity has no use unless it earns you credentials. Then you're handed over to the corporate world, which promises satisfaction, but delivers debt, deadlines, and dependence. And here's the harsh truth. If you don't desire money, you're not a good consumer. If you're content, you're bad for business. If you're self-sufficient, you're a flaw in the system. And society hates flaws. That's why it labels you as lazy, irresponsible, unrealistic, or a failure. But those aren't truths. They are tools of control. Weapons to keep you running in circles, always chasing the next thing, always feeling inadequate. But what if the man who steps out of that race isn't lost, but finally found? What if living simply isn't failure, but victory? What if rejecting the obsession with money isn't weakness, but wisdom? Erich Fromm once said, "If I am what I have, and if what I have is lost, then who am I?" The system doesn't want you to ask that question, but you must. Because until you do, you're not truly living. You're you're just earning. And there is a huge difference between those two things. Fromm also wrote, "True wealth is not having more, but needing less." And he went even further. The truly rich man is not the one who has much, but the one who is no longer controlled by the fear of not having. Let that sink in. Most people don't chase money because they love it. They chase it because they fear what will happen without it. Judgment, failure, irrelevance. But what if the man who isn't afraid of being broke because he knows who he is, with or without a bank account, is actually the richest person in the room? Henry David Thoreau understood this long before the world became a 24/7 marketplace. He walked away from the noise, the rat race, the expectations. He built a cabin near Walden Pond, not to escape life, but to discover it. They called him poor, but he wasn't. He had enough. Enough food, enough shelter, enough time to think, write, walk, be. What he truly possessed was something most millionaires can't buy: freedom. Thoreau didn't try to destroy the system. He simply stepped outside of it. And from there, he could see clearly. The more you need, the more you can be owned. But the less you need, the less you can be bought. Fromm echoed this truth decades later. Modern man became a slave, not to chains, but to consumption. We no longer ask, "Who am I?" Only, "What do I have?" We don't seek meaning, we seek upgrades. Our identity no longer lives in the soul, but in the wallet. But here's the radical idea. If you don't fear poverty, you can no longer be bribed. You can't be seduced by shiny things, or silenced by the threat of scarcity. Because the person who doesn't fear being poor is the only one who can finally choose to be free. So, how do you actually live this way? How do you break the chains of money, status, and endless desire? Thoreau gave us a roadmap almost 2 centuries ago, and it's more relevant today than ever. He believed that freedom doesn't come from acquiring more, but from needing less. Every item you own, every service you depend on, every luxury you cling to, comes with an invisible string attached to it. And the more strings you collect, the more entangled you become. Thoreau didn't just talk about this. He lived it. He grew his own food, built his own cabin, lived with only the essentials. And in doing so, he discovered a profound truth. When you reduce your needs, you increase your freedom. That's not poverty, that's power. It's not deprivation, it's clarity. When you stop chasing bigger houses, flashier cars, trendier clothes, you free up something more valuable than money: your time, your energy, your mind. You no longer need jobs you hate just to afford lifestyles you don't even love. You can say no without fear. You can walk away without regret, because you've simplified your life to what truly matters and discovered that it is more than enough. Thoreau wrote, "A man is rich in proportion to the number of things he can afford to let go." Let that line live inside you, because the fewer things you need, the fewer ways the world has to control you. Minimalism isn't about owning nothing. It's about no longer being owned. When you live with only what you need, everything you have begins to matter more. And the space you create, that is where your true life begins. Thank you for making it this far. This message is not just a reflection. It's a deep invitation to rethink your life, your values, your choices. It's not about romanticizing poverty, but freeing yourself from the fear of it. It's not about rejecting money, but about stripping it of its power over you. True wealth isn't in the bank. It's in being able to look the world in the eye and say, I don't need what you're selling. I'm already enough. If this message touched your soul, subscribe to the channel, give it a like, and share it with those who also deserve to hear it. Because maybe, like you, they're tired of running without knowing why. Maybe they too are ready to start truly living. Until the next video. And don't forget, the most valuable thing you have is not what you own, but what you allow yourself to let go of in order to be truly free.